Solid tales, history uncovered. In World War II, a tiny US Army unit of 1,100 artists tied down 300,000 Nazi troops, changed the outcome of D-Day and never fired a single bullet. This is the story of the Ghost Army and how they turned a 2,000-year-old Chinese warfare philosophy into the greatest military deception of all time. Over 2,000 years ago, the legendary military strategist Sun Tzu wrote, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." It's the core of the sixth stratagem from China's iconic 36 stratagems: feint in the east, attack in the west. A brilliant, timeless philosophy. But in the brutal meat grinder of World War II, how do you actually pull that off? The US Army found a way. They didn't do it with heavy tanks or hardened infantry. They did it with illustrators, sound engineers, set designers, and even fashion designers. This is the untold, highly classified story of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, better known to history as the Ghost Army. To understand their unmatched capability, we have to start with their masterpiece, the Normandy landings. The success of D-Day hinged on a massive, top-secret deception plan known as Operation Fortitude. And the Ghost Army was the tip of that spear. Staring across the English Channel toward Pas-de-Calais, they built a phantom menace from nothing. They constructed sprawling fake encampments. They stacked thousands of hollow ammunition crates. They even drove trucks dragging heavy tires in endless loops to scar the earth with fake convoy tracks. Combined with an intricate radio spoofing campaign and false intelligence fed to the Germans by legendary double agent Juan Puyol, codenamed Garbo, they materialized the first United States Army Group, or FUSAG, a fictitious force of 1 million men. And the German High Command fell for it, completely. They anchored 300,000 elite troops at Calais, waiting for an invasion that would never come. Even after Allied troops stormed the beaches of Normandy on June 6, 1944, the Ghost Army kept the lie alive. They continued to broadcast that Normandy was just a diversion. Hitler was so convinced by the deception that he refused to release his elite reserves. The formidable German 15th Army, 11 full veteran divisions, sat completely idle for 7 agonizing weeks. Think about that, a tiny unit of artists with no heavy weapons tied down 300,000 Nazi troops during the most critical phase of the war. It's hard to overstate how many Allied lives they saved. If this deception blows your mind, drop a like and let us know in the comments, what's the most brilliant military feint you've ever heard of? We might even cover it in a future episode. So how did a ragtag team of creatives fool the entire German war machine? The Ghost Army's playbook relied on a flawless 3-part illusion built to perfect the ancient art of feinting in the East while striking in the West. First, visual deception. Led by the 603rd Engineer Camouflage Battalion, they handcrafted vast armadas of inflatable Sherman tanks, wood and canvas artillery, and dummy aircraft. From the air, the illusion was perfect. Even American reconnaissance pilots once nearly landed on a fake airstrip they'd built. In just a few hours, they could conjure an entire armored battalion out of thin air. They even carved real tank treads into the mud, scattered spent shell casings, and burned dry ice to fake campfire smoke. Every detail, perfect. But a visual trick fails in the dark. That's where the second layer came in: sonic warfare. The Americans weaponized audio. The 313 Signal Service Company built a massive library of combat audio, then blasted it through 500-watt speakers that could carry sound 15 miles across the battlefield. At night, German sentries would hear the deafening roar of armored columns, the grinding of gears, shouted commands, and engineers building bridges. They spent sleepless nights terrified of an impending assault that would never come. Finally, the electronic trap, radio deception, Ghost Army radio operators were elite method actors. They meticulously mimicked the exact Morse code, cadence, slang, and command style of specific American units and commanders. They flooded the airwaves with fake orders, fake reports, and fake static, building a full electronic signature of a massive army on the move. The German intelligence apparatus intercepted every signal and swallowed the bait whole. But their greatest, most dangerous deception was still to come. A high-stakes moving illusion that would decide the final invasion of Germany. By early 1945, after the Allies claimed victory in the Battle of the Bulge, Supreme Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower laid out his final strategy. The objective was clear: cross the Rhine River, Germany's last natural barrier, and strike at the heart of the Nazi regime. Here's the plan. The US Ninth Army would secretly maneuver to the Wesel sector to launch a massive amphibious crossing. They would then link up with the British 21st Army Group and trap the German forces on the Rhine's left bank. To mask this colossal movement, the Ghost Army stepped in. Their mission was deadly: draw all German fire and reserves toward the town of Viersen, 20 miles south of the real crossing point. They initiated a barrage of fake encrypted radio traffic, signaling the buildup of 2 full infantry divisions at Viersen. Ghost Army soldiers, disguised in the uniforms of high-ranking officers, deliberately leaked fake invasion plans in local bars and cafes, knowing German spies were listening. At the Viersen riverbank, they elevated the deception to an art form. They mixed real, operational tanks with their inflatable decoys. They trucked in actual bridge components and detonated flashbangs to simulate the muzzle flashes of heavy artillery. They sold the lie with flawless precision. Then, in the dead of night, they executed their most breathtaking feint yet. They packed up their radios, abandoned the inflatable decoys, and vanished. While German guns zeroed in on the empty canvas targets at Viersen, the Ghost Army raced north to Wesel. There, they immediately built a new fake encampment, posing as a massive force resting ahead of the invasion. To German reconnaissance pilots, it looked like the entire American army had simply moved north. The German high command was completely blinded. They deployed their reserves to all the wrong sectors, and when the real US Ninth Army surged across the Rhine at Wesel, they met only fractured, hollowed-out resistance. The Ghost Army had pulled off the perfect feint. Between 1944 and 1945, this band of creatives pulled off over 20 high-stakes deceptions across the European theater. They didn't fight with bullets or bayonets. They fought with the 2,500-year-old wisdom of Sun Tzu. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. Through their art, their acting, and their incredible bravery, the Ghost Army saved tens of thousands of Allied lives and helped turn the tide of the Second World War. If you loved this deep dive into the untold stories of WWII and our breakdown of the 36 stratagems in action, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Next time, we're breaking down how the Allies used another iconic stratagem to outsmart the Nazis in one of the war's most brutal battles. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. History Uncovered. Subscribe to Solid Tales.